Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrigan. Alongside me, as always, the ritual himself, Josh Finney.
Oh my god, I'm so tired thinking about how tired I am this week. This has, genuinely, it's been a draining week. And I probably got, 2 more weeks before, before things, kind of taper off for me a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's not even it's all bad. It's all side stuff. It's all fun stuff. It's just draining.
Yeah.
Because we've had Gamescom this week. In addition to the Bungie reveal, the Destiny reveal, we went straight in. Gamescom started happening while I was trying to edit the post show. New season drops, so trying to get in there, trying to see what's going on. There's been Gamescom live streams. There's actually been a decent amount of news drop during those for Xbox, and we do an Xbox show, so that's coming on Monday.
Yeah.
Starfield is at our doorstep.
Also
Armored Core is literally on my doorstep. The world's first race is next weekend, along with the launch of Starfield, which comes with it a raid recap pod. It's all fun stuff, but it's it all got packed into about a 2.5 week period here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I already saw Ronnie complaining about them starting at night for the Discord race.
Yeah.
Ronnie.
Oh man, this is the
Look, Ronnie, if you need carried, and you're starting at night, just call me or poke me or whatever you do on these social media networks these days.
This is the most that we've had for a group attempting a raid on day one, I think, so far. And I mean, not all 2 raids that have been there, right?
Yeah.
We kind of hastily put together, not hastily, but we put it together probably back in January, the group that I ran with for weekend 1 of Root of Nightmares, and same team. We're running it back this year. We're starting right at reset. I shared this on the show. I'm fairly hesitant to commit to 2 runs, and it's not because I don't like the Crota raid. It's because that is Starfield Day.
Yeah.
And that is something I've waited literally a decade for. But not only that, it's the reprised raids require you to do the normal contest run, and then you have to do challenge mode with all the challenges.
Right.
And if you fail any of the challenges, you fail the encounter. So I'm not a huge fan of that. I understand why it's there, and hey, if you're going for it, more power to you. We've got some world's first details for how this is going to play out there, trying to make it a little more difficult than Root of Nightmares was, which tells me that this probably isn't as reworked as we hoped for.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't. I highly doubt it's reworked any significant way.
The 2 main encounters that actually need the rework, I think, are building the bridge.
Oh yeah,
you got to do that. I mean, we used to solo that, for God's sake.
Yeah, I mean the cheese.
Yeah, well, I can guarantee you the cheese isn't going to be there anymore.
Yeah,
I don't think there's going to be any climbing to the top of the spire to snipe everything, and get swords to despawn and everything. I think you're going to have that, and they're probably going to have to rework the Crota encounter somehow, because I mean, shooting Galley to break the shield and then run up and sword him a couple times and then run away doesn't seem like much of a boss encounter.
Yeah.
I guarantee there's going to be some sort of puzzle, at least it's some sort of mechanic that makes it to where you cannot solo Crota anymore. But we'll know all about that in about 9 days. So
yeah,
can't wait for that.
Yep.
Man. So you weren't here for the reveal. You were not here for the reveal stream. Corey was being responsible and working.
Well, I was trying, but then I got all this stuff to do all at once in that morning, and I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do it. I wanted to. I have thoughts, but
Corey, go ahead and give me your thoughts, because I want to drink a little bit more of my tea. Give me some of your thoughts on the showcase. I promise the people that we would get your thoughts on it before we dove in and talked about the season and the TWAB and things like that.
Yeah, I'll be quick, because I know there's already a 90 or however long podcast, maybe a little over an hour of your
Hit me,
guys'
Corey.
thoughts. But I thought it was good. I liked a lot of the and I know Joe Blackburn kind of addressed some of this stuff in his little Twitter video or whatever, but like I'm really excited for honestly, I'm excited for what's next because they are
Yeah.
introducing those episodes, and that sounds like kind of what we were talking about a little bit last week, and like they are listening to the seasonal structure and kind of I think the Pale Heart is interesting. It kind of looks like the greatest hits of Destiny in a nightmare scenario almost,
Yeah.
right? Where like, obviously like it kind of changes over time, but like I enjoyed the showcase. I think the collector's edition is super cool. I ended up getting one.
I
Like
did too.
I almost
I ordered it live on stream.
well, I I almost ordered two. But the thing is like I had to log out of my Bungie account because it
Oh,
kept.
you had one of those glitches? Yeah.
Yeah, I've had it for so long. I've had it for like 3 years, and they said
I get it periodically.
yeah, every time I order something from there, I have to log out because
Oh,
they're
that's
like,
frustrating.
yeah, and I mean it's a good thing I'm not like into any of the cool stuff that you get that's attached to your accounts, right? Yeah, but like,
My mine auto logs me out all the time, and I've tried saving my password. I'm actually pretty happy that doesn't happen now
yeah,
because I really like getting I give away the extra emblems. So
yeah. But I emailed them and said, "Hey, I'm having this kind of issue ordering through my account.
Mhm.
Can you help me?" And I'm like talking to them now to kind of fix this issue because it's getting annoying.
Yeah,
Um, and like, I mean, it just wasn't a high priority for me, but like, it's
it's
just,
becoming like you're ordering with enough frequency,
yeah,
and it's like important enough items. Yeah, I get it.
yeah. So so I bought the collector's edition and they sent me a 15% off coupon.
I got one. I think you got one if you bought it on that first day. I think you
Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
So I
But
have one as well.
then when I was talking to the person, they sent me another one, so I have two.
Ooh, look at you. Yeah, I'm gonna turn around and immediately use mine on the shirts that I wanted to buy out of the store.
Yeah. I definitely want a Final Shape shirt.
Yeah,
Um,
I have
and
that and the Strand shirt sitting in my cart
yeah,
to
yeah,
get those.
I kind of want that too. But part of me wants to use one on that Savathun statue I never got.
I don't have room for it.
I know. I would have to put away like I. I mean, I have all my Disney Infinity figures sitting above me on shelves. I would have to put those away, some of them away.
I mean, I would need to put. I realistically, I could have room. It's just like, and I know people like who've seen this on YouTube could be like, Josh, what are you talking about? You have space behind you on the shelves. No, 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 my friends. I'm living in an apartment. Okay, I do have room behind me, but I have like tubs of stuff that I can't put on shelves because I don't have the room. If
Mhm.
I buy another big collectible, mind you, and this is with the knowledge that I have a Boba Fett statue I got for my birthday that I have not been able to put up anywhere yet.
Yeah,
I might actually be killed.
yeah.
So I'm holding fast. I will tell you, I almost pulled the trigger on the Varric statue.
Yeah, it's on sale right now.
It's on sale, and I have come really close to pulling the trigger on it.
Yeah.
I might be able to talk myself into it as a Christmas present from me to me. But
I
I've got so much. I still have the Vexcalibur thing coming in the mail.
oh god.
So I like that. Thank God that goes on the wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got enough shit. I've got the Grimoire book on order. I've got a collector's edition on order. I'm good. I think I can live with the two shirts for right now.
Yeah. The I actually thought about getting the Shax statue even though I have the McFarlane one from Destiny 1.
Which I think personally looks a little bit better.
Yeah. But it bothers me that it's not on a stand like the rest of
That's
them
true. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm
The Saladin's like that too.
yeah. Yeah. I also had to take the cape off of Saladin because it was annoying because it doesn't like lay flat. It kind
Yeah.
of like it's made out of this like that crunchy like Think of a sandpaper, like a used sandpaper. That's kind of what it
Yeah,
feels like.
I have enough figures that I know what you're talking about.
uh, that was the one thing though. Like, I'm kind of shocked they didn't announce a new statue.
I'm okay with it. They announced
I'm not. Damn it.
they're doing a War Beast plushie and a new Ghost Shell.
I don't care.
What I like most about this collector's edition, though, if we can backtrack just a second. If you read the description of it and you look at some of the materials that are included, it's compiled by Ido,
Uh huh.
which I think was really cool because it's like, oh, okay, well, we can take her off the bounty board of characters that will potentially die between now and February,
Yeah.
which is really reassuring to me.
Yeah.
Um, when I want to go back to something you were talking about with the showcase, specifically with episodes. We have a really big question on those, so I kind of want to tackle that here at the beginning. I want to get showcase thoughts out of the way here as we start.
Yeah.
We had some stuff that was in the Discord that I just did not get to the other day. But Ronnie asked us, he goes, "Will Echoes be our first real chance to get a third dark subclass, since it was pretty much said we weren't getting one in the campaign of the final shape?" And notes that Echoes is red. The subclass was rumored to be red, and if you look at the other two, they're respectively stasis and strand colored.
Mm-hmm.
And he shares the thoughts that we could get a rework of stasis and possibly strand and this and that. Anyways, it kind of concludes and says, where's the realistic place where a third subclass could be introduced? I have seen this. The reason why I want to lead off with this is because I've seen a lot of chatter about this over the last 48 hours, a lot of copium.
Yeah.
I want to go on record right now as saying that they could introduce it there. And I want to be really clear. There is the possibility, and this is the copium I've been seeing, that they are holding this until after the campaign is over in the final shape. I do not think that is the case.
Yeah.
I think that there were plans to introduce a new subclass originally back when it was supposed to be Beyond Light, the Witch Queen, and Lightfall. Remember, the final shape originally did not exist.
Yeah.
Once they introduced Lightfall as kind of the stopgap, and Strand, or whatever it originally was moved out of the Witch Queen to here, I think that made it less critical for them to try and shove another subclass out the door so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Bungie, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I want to save this for the next saga.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, with where player retention is at, where player sentiment is at, they 100% would have promoted a new subclass to draw people in, because that will always be a selling point. I think that's a whole new suite of powers. They're choosing to focus on the light subclass. If anything, I think there may be more light subclass supers coming along, because only doing 3 didn't it does and doesn't make sense to me. You're getting an offensive super with Void Titan, which you've had you've had shield throw. Sentinel Shield's been pretty underwhelming for the entirety of Destiny 2, with the exception of that one glorious Void season at the beginning of Witch Queen.
Yeah. That was so awesome.
Oh, it was great. That's all Colonel Panic was running. It was fantastic. And then you're getting the solar one for the Warlocks, which I think makes a lot more sense as an offensive super as opposed to Dawnblade and PvE content.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And then you're getting here. My problem is, as a hunter, I'm like, oh boy, we're getting another new Arc super. We just got one 12 months ago. It's just basically they keep trying to make Arc Blade happen, and I'm not happy about it. But I do think like the approach to it is cool. It's just Hunter, I think, was already pretty balanced in terms of support and offensive supers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at our solar kit. Our solar kit is entirely offensive in terms of supers. You look at our void. It's we've got one offensive, and Tether can be offensive or support really. And then in Arc, you finally got the staff. The staff is finally there. Gathering Storm is one of the best offensive supers in the history of the franchise, if not the current best, with Star Eater strides. And of course, regular Arc staff, takes a very skilled player, but it's a PvP menace. So like, what do you do on their kits? My thing would be, I would like to see similar to how we're getting offensive kits for Titans and Warlocks, I'd like to see some defensive kits introduced for like Solar and Void Hunters. Not that, I mean, Void is in a good place, and that's like the whole thing, I guess. Like, some of these are in such good places, some of them aren't, and this is kind of a way to beef it up. It just feels like it's a little random, and
Yeah.
yet at the same time, I want to note something that's kind of poetic here. The subclasses they gave you at default when you started up Destiny 2 for the first time are lining up with these,
Mhm.
because Sentinel Shield, Arc Staff, and Dawnblade were the three that were advertised from the very beginning.
Mhm.
So it kind of makes sense that at the end of Destiny 2, well, at the end of Destiny 2's current arc, we're coming back to those three.
Yeah. It what the other thing I really like about this presentation too, it was a lot of nostalgia, like with a purpose, right?
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. I liked seeing like the overgrown D1 tower. I liked seeing, the the I think it was like the tree from the Black Garden.
There's a lot of callbacks. Like almost every shot had callbacks to things that we've done. And when they were talking about the Pale Heart, they
Hmm.
says that's the intent, is it's our journey.
Hmm.
It's the journey that we've gone on since the beginning laid out.
Hmm.
And that's pretty fitting to me that they want that. And they said something really intriguing to me. And this leads me to believe that it's going to be a not a short campaign, but it's going to be condensed. It's
Yeah.
going to be like all bangers all the time. No, none of this in between bullshit, right?
Yeah. No set up patrol zones for Cade like in
Oh my
Red
god.
War and
I
like
mean, like, it's funny because I like that you use that as the example, because like in the context that you do that on Oryx's Dreadnought, that actually makes sense.
yeah.
Because you go in, you infiltrate the ship, and then the Vanguard shows up. I'm like, that stuff is cool. It's the, oh, go and run patrols for Sloan on Titan so that we can gather data to find out, to calibrate where Cade went to, and things like that. Like, we've moved beyond that at this point. We don't want a repeat of the Lightfall campaign. I'd rather it be condensed and be like 8 really solid missions.
Yeah.
But them saying this is going to be a linear experience and it will only be after you finish the campaign that you can open it up for patrols is awesome.
Yeah.
I like hearing that. And something that I saw people picking up was, when the narrative designers were kind of talking about it and being like, yeah, we're aiming to close it out. Maybe even beating the Witness in the raid won't be enough. Maybe that's not even enough. And it's like, no, that's very clearly a sign that they recorded this a few weeks ago, because Joe last week was like, it is finished in the raid. We're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
I saw some brief panic about that. I hope they stick to it. I really don't want to think about Megamind after February, or I guess the second weekend of March. I don't want to think about Megamind.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see what happens when this is over. Like
Yeah,
because like we've been following a lot of it has been like the Hive storyline, but we've been following these storylines in the Cabal storyline too to an extent, right? But like w- we've been following these storylines for years, and it's good. It's like the Warcraft episode of South Park, right? Where like they
yeah.
finally defeat the guy, right? And then they're like, "What do we do now?" And it's like, well, we finally play the game.
Well, now that kind of leads me to the next thing is, there was so much speculation on what's next. We had a lot of people in the community say they really wanted like at least the title card for what was next.
Mhm.
I'm actually really happy they didn't talk about that or even name drop anything, because the focus needs to be on the here and now. And they
Yeah.
clarified that through their socials, saying that that's a very deliberate thing. They will talk next year about what the plans are for like 2025 and beyond.
Hmm.
But for right now, they want to focus on the final shape and on the first batch of episodes that they're doing. And that the journey that we're on has been very deliberate for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, it really does feel that way, right? It feels like we're culminating in a journey that they didn't really know what direction they were going to take the franchise until Destiny 2 itself came out. And I think even that took a little bit to course correct. They had that teaser of the pyramid ships at the end. I hadn't watched that cutscene in years until they showed it on the pre-show.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh man, I forgot just how good that cutscene is.
Mhm.
But if you watch it, it's like, oh yeah, it like where the light flows past. Yeah, they had that planned out for a few years. Like they knew exactly where they were going with stuff. Um, it wasn't really until Forsaken that it seems like they had the plan.
Mhm.
That's when, I think they really sat down after the disappointment of the launch of E2 and Curse of Osiris and we're like, okay, how do we start fixing this?
Yeah.
And it's not just how do we fix this to make the next expansion good, it's how do we introduce a multi-year storyline and where's our next jumping off point essentially. I love the idea of episodes so much when we talk about the future because this feels like we've taken the Forsaken season pass, we've
Mhm.
taken the original expansion passes, and we've taken what we learned in the seasons since, first off, since they were introduced, but really especially since Chosen, I would say
Yeah.
we've taken those lessons and kind of made them into like a super pass with. So for those who are, I've seen a little bit of confusion on episodes, not really from a few from our community, but like just kind of in general online, like people who aren't like really paying attention and just like, oh, season pass is season pass.
Mhm.
They're going to be 3 episodes and they're each going to have 3 acts. Each act, this is what I found interesting. Each act is supposedly going to introduce storylines, quests, armor, weapons. There's going to be an exotic mission in each episode. I'm going to call bullshit on the armor in each of these things. I think that is not going to happen. And I really don't want to reset my artifact mods every 6 weeks. But them saying that these are going to be
Yeah.
standalone experiences is really exciting to me. Like if you look at the artwork on here, it's the Vex, it's the Scorn, and then there's a Hive Sword. And that was the other part of Ronnie's question is, it's going to loop into our Season of the Witch talk here in a few minutes, regarding some of the events that have already happened in Season of the Witch.
Mhm.
Um, I'm interested to see what happens. Like them essentially doing new story beats every 6 weeks. Like,
Mhm.
are we just getting like continuous story then? Or are you going to do like 3 weeks of story per act? Or like, how's that going to work? And some people be like, oh, these are just longer seasons, is all they are. Like, no, I really hope that they've taken the lesson and like they found a healthy middle ground between seasons and expansions,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't think that I want to go ahead and say also, I do not think that we're going to get a second year of episodes right off the bat. I don't. Part of me wonders if this is like them kind of gauging the reaction to be like, oh, like, are we going to put out a real expansion in 2025, or are we going to let that be like the year that we launch Marathon and we just do another like season or two,
Mhm.
and then maybe in the fall we come out with the expansion.
Yeah. Um I have a theory about the Hive one, and this is probably really, really far fetched. And I think it all depends on what happens either this season or the rest of the year with Zivu Arath and that kind
Can
of
we
thing.
can we pause that thought?
Yeah, yeah.
We have a lot of we actually have a few questions related to this, and we have story to talk about.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So,
Put a
but
pin in it.
put a pin in it. We're gonna circle right back. I promise. We're gonna jump in and read what some of y'all wanted in the showcase. We're gonna kind of do like a scorecard here for how Bungie did with for y'all. Zhao wrote in and said that he was hoping for a collector's edition with a giant witness statue and a tease or announcement of a 10th anniversary pack. Um, Sorry that you didn't get either of those, but I think the Tower Mystery Box is really dope.
Yeah, I mean the tower. If you've been collecting these collector's editions since the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the tower is going to be a awesome centerpiece for like for someone who likes to display stuff. Like it would be like the center of your collection or whatever. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, because you had the Destiny 1 Ghost Edition.
Hmm.
You had they didn't do a true collector's edition for the Taken King,
No.
but they had some physical goodies. The Destiny 2 was Hawthorne's bag.
Hmm.
Um there wasn't one for Forsaken really. We had that like really crappy Cade statue you could get from GameStop, which I
Yeah.
have on my shelf.
The
But
gold one, the
the
bronze one.
the dirt bronze one,
Yeah.
yes,
And then
that
they turned
weighs
around
like a third of a pound.
and then they made that really cool one like 2 years ago. The way
Yeah, that
better
I
one.
still haven't bought and I really need to.
It's on sale on
Um,
Amazon.
they did the Shadowkeep one with the Cryptoglyph. They did Beyond Light with the Darkness Shard.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the Witch Queen has the Hive Ghost. Lightfall has the Puka. I think you're absolutely right. Like if you have the you have that like you have the tower and you have like the Hive Ghost and the Puka on either side, you can have the 3 smaller artifacts and the original ghost in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a really cool centerpiece. And like for me, it's like, oh yeah, that's my Destiny shelf sorted like forever.
Yeah.
For my physical knickknacks, Bungie's done great collector's editions ever since the Halo 3 Master Chief Edition.
Yeah.
Nerd jokingly said that he wanted a Nerf Jotun, and I don't know if that was a Nerf 2 Jotun or a Nerf gun Jotun. All I know is that if they had actually announced a Nerf gun Jotun, I would have been in a lot of trouble for buying a third Nerf gun. Nadiki says they're going to show the new destination in Cade and some new subclass we probably need to learn to get into the portal, and the reprised raid for the season. You hit on all of those except for the new subclass. That really took a lot of us by surprise that we came back to the original 3 subclasses instead of doing a new one.
Yeah. So these are just going to be like, these are just going to be kind of like aspects to the current subclasses, right?
Yeah, these are just new. These are new super. These are new offensive. Like they wanted to give us the full power of the Traveler. They said like they wanted us to tap into that, which makes me hope that there's more supers.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's a really cool premise, and it's just like, God damn it, give me these new supers. If they had held Gathering Storm until now, I would have been like, yes, thank God. But instead, it's gotten a full year to shine. They can't possibly nerf it at this point. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
Hail Hydra wrote in and goes, I want the missions and stories to be delivered over time, so the arc of the final shape takes a year to deliver. Final raid to come out at the time the reprised raid normally would, and the reprised raid to come out with the final shape as a holdover. I'm really glad no offense, I'm really glad they didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
They could not afford to do that after Lightfall. And Joe Blackburn had already come out by this point. I don't know if I think these comments were taken after the video was already out. There's no way that they could have gotten away with that. Maybe if they hadn't pulled it in Lightfall, you could have, but I think just players would have been so mad. You would have had to buy the $100 edition.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's fair to anybody. I think that the way the story's being delivered this year has been okay because there's a lot that has to be wrapped up. I'm kind of understanding, but I still fall into the camp of like Bife and Mylan of that witness cutscene in particular had to be in Lightfall, and it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
That's still a completely maddening thing to me.
You're talking about the one from Season of the Deep, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The Witness's origin. That not being in Lightfall is inexcusable.
Yeah.
Even if it had been something that we get at the end of the campaign, it's inexcusable that we did not get that in that game.
Yeah.
Everything else, I'm okay with everything else that's happened in the seasons. That being in Lightfall instantly elevates Lightfall in my eyes for story.
Yeah.
So they're not doing it, but the story's playing out in Neomuna, the Veil Containment. That is great for lorehounds. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy what they did there. I know I've said we're going to talk Veil Containment. I promise we will do it at some point this fall. I promise. I have 14 weeks of audio to listen to and transcribe. So, but it's the entire story of Maya Sundaresh. Lakshmi is part of it. I want to do that story justice. That is a really big deep dive for the lore. We've had requests for it. I promise I have seen those requests. The children cry out for lore salvation. Okay. Oh boy. Zhao also said he would like a way of bringing back all the old content. I will say that really bothered me that we didn't get that.
It feels like a half step with how they are doing it.
I think this is a good first step.
Mm-hmm.
This is not adequate. This is a fine stopgap for right now. I really hope that once the final shape is out, this is my copium. Other people have a third subclass. Mine is the copium that they'll come out and for the 10th anniversary say, hey, by the way, all your old content's back. Just download it from the cloud when you want to play it. Oh, God, unspeakable acts.
Yeah. They have to do packets, right? I mean, like expansion packets and be like, hey, here's the base, like here's the base of Destiny, and then you download the packets and like Oh, okay. Well, you can't. You can go to the Tangled Shore, but you can't do the Forsaken missions there, right? Because you didn't download the Forsaken
Yeah,
packet
the
or whatever.
destinations would all. I think you would have to have the destinations. I
Hmm.
think that at the minimum, whatever is in like the predetermined Vanguard rotator for that season would need to be downloaded,
Hmm.
and probably like the three most recent expansions.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's gonna be like the base, like the large game
It's
that you
like an
download.
MMO.
Yeah.
It's literally an MMO at this point.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, maybe that's something that. Well, never
I
mind.
wonder if they're waiting. I wonder if they're waiting until they cut off the other consoles to do that at this point.
I wonder too, as like a final goodbye to them, be like, hey, all your content's been restored, but also like maybe there. This is pure copium. The in-universe explanation we got is that the witness took those planets away.
Hmm.
Maybe when we beat him,
Maybe.
those destinations are unlocked again. It would not be the first time Bungie has pulled something like this. I want to remind everyone of Forsaken. The Dreaming City is only unlocked after you beat the campaign.
Hmm. I wonder. I wonder if maybe that's what that first episode is like.
Oh man, I would be so happy.
Yeah, like, okay, so this episode, like, you are restoring Io. This episode, you're like, doing stuff on Titan to help, you know, Sloan kind of put it back together or whatever, right? And
Yeah.
uh you kind of do that. Maybe you go to Io to like invade the Vex network to figure out like what's going on there, or you know what I mean? Like something like
Yeah.
that. So
Along the same lines, kind of like what everybody else is saying, Ronnie said that he would like to see a new dark subclass dealing with quantum physics. Sorry, you didn't get that, Ronnie. That actually sounds kind of dope. Where we need our chief science officer to come talk about that. Which I mean, by the way, shout out to Ziltax for being like so on top of like science theories in the Discord. That has genuinely been a joy to read. A lot of it goes over my head, but he provides links, and I really appreciate that.
it's always good to have links.
It's always good to have links. I love my charts. Um, Ronnie also said he'd like a new live model, which I think you kind of got that,
Hmm.
mixing the old D2 way with minor expansions and seasons.
Yeah.
Wanted to tease for Beyond the Final Shape, like the 10th anniversary pack. I always like I kind of want to address the 10th anniversary pack because I feel like we're partially responsible for like for our community like expecting to see something like that.
Yeah.
That will not be shown until next year.
I mean, it'll be shown like a year from now, right?
Yeah, because the
If
10th
anything.
anniversary is not until September 2024. We are going into year 9 currently.
Hmm.
So, like as of like literally as of like September 7th, we're going into year 9.
Yeah.
So, that is still a ways off. They probably haven't even started building it yet, honestly. But yeah, we'll have much more copium for you here after the final shape. And then, of course, just the two evergreen predictions that we seem to have every year: a mobile game announcement and an animated show teaser.
Which
Um,
seems plausible at this point, right? I mean,
I do want to say so. Shade Slayer wrote in and said, "Canon movie or show, a mobile game, new light aspects." So shout out to Shade Slayer, which we have it here. He predicted it a full 24 hours before the showcase. New light aspects were coming.
mhm.
Shout out to Shade Slayer.
Shout out.
And I think that's that. Oh, excuse me, Tiger Jesus with my personal favorite prediction. I saw this the day before. Also, new types of weapons, something like crossbows or dual wield sidearms. We are getting rocket pistols.
Yeah, dude, that thing looks awesome.
They went full Borderlands. We're getting rocket pistols. We're getting healing auto rifles. How do you feel about Kovstov coming back?
I mean, you knew it was, right? I mean, it's in all the cutscenes now, right? It's the first weapon you
Still, like
literally.
it evokes a certain feeling, I think, for those of us who have been playing since the very beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally the first weapon you pick up in Destiny 1.
It's an
Uh
exotic in Rise of Iron.
yeah, which was cool because you could actually customize it to be different archetypes, which was
Well,
cool.
and A1 John, I don't know if Johnny said this on our post show, but he was talking about it with me afterwards. Is what if that's like the ultimate craftable weapon? Like, there's just so many different mods you can slap on that gun. Like,
I mean,
like so many different perks, and like maybe they add perks over time to the crafting table for
yeah,
it.
I mean, it could be the one where you could add elements because they
Right.
introduced that too, right? There's a weapon that you could
Oh my
change
god, the
darkness.
fusion rifle is
Yeah,
awesome if you haven't played with it yet. And
yeah,
I understand you have to buy the $100 version of the final shape. That gun is absurd.
yeah,
I love it. It's so fun.
yeah. I don't know if I picked it up or not. I had to have. No,
If it's not in your inventory,
it's
go to the new kiosk in the tower and it'll give it to you there.
it's the is it the it's the tessellation? Is it the tessellation?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I got it. I knew I picked one up, but I couldn't remember um, if I did or not. Anyways, sorry.
No. It's all good. So those were some of y'all's predictions. I
Mm-hmm.
promised during the post show we would read them today. And we kind of do a scorecard. I had to go back and rewatch part of the showcase because I was taking so many notes
Mm-hmm.
that I missed certain things that were happening. But very, very happy about that. I don't really have any more. I think between the post show, we've just opened up like the first half hour with
Mm-hmm.
more thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything more we can really say. Everything's going to be kind of left a mystery. They said in the post show they're being deliberately vague
Yeah.
about the final shape beyond what they're telling us now because they want it to be a mystery.
Yeah, and I like that. I'm ready for it to be like, I'm excited for the final shape. I think the location is cool. I'm interested to see like the only other thing I want to say, and we can end it there, is like I'm really interested to see how Cade comes back. Like we still don't really know that part either.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I'm happy that we don't know because and them saying that Robert Brooks, one of the senior narratives designers, was talking about this. He says that they kind of see Cade as like the guide for us here, which to me screams that he's back in the game and he's going to be the vendor for this space.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a way for him to return to the tower, especially with the shadow of Lance Reddick looming so heavily.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that though, right? I mean, Drifter was in two places at once. Crow, right?
Well, it's more of how do you bring him back to life?
Yeah,
that's the problem here. Like, I'm not questioning in two places at once. I'm questioning how the fuck did we get him out of the Travelissi back into the tower?
yeah. And does he get a ghost like at the end of the day? Right?
Yeah, is Sundance back?
I don't know if Sundance is back, but I wonder if he just gets a new ghost or if like I don't know, Finch wants to hang out with him or
Yeah, it kind of feels like my idea of Finch aligning with Eris is going up in flames.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That seems like a good transition there, Josh.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump right on into it. Season of the Witch. I gotta tell you, I am absolutely a fan of this season already.
Yeah, it's really
cool. This feels like a season where they sat down and they said, okay, what can we do to pull Josh away from Starfield, Armored Core, Baldur's Gate, Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed? Not even the announcement of the Hellboy game coming on October 4th is going to stop this train. We're going to give him the deck of many things from Dungeons and Dragons in a first-person shooter. We're going to take Eris and make her into a hive mommy.
Which is hilarious. Like,
oh my God, it is. There is so much here.
Yeah.
That you have to unpack. And Corey, I don't even know where to say. You have already jumped into the season.
Yeah.
We both have. Give me your take. You've actually gotten to do these first couple of missions.
Yeah. So I did.
Give me your take on the story.
Yeah. So I did the kind of like the opening of the season, and then I did this week's story mission, and man, that opening mission where like, after you finish it, like Eris goes into her ritual, like the one that was in the trailer, right? And like you just, dude, how she transforms is like it's awesome. So awesome and weird and cool. I like when they do stuff, weird stuff, and we've been trying to question what Eris was gonna do, what she has to do with the hive, right? Well, she fucking turns into one, essentially, and I really like the three person event where you have to kind of like scale the spire. I think that's really cool. Uh, I really thought this first kind of story, like it kind of reminds me of the like the Season of the Deep missions where like you go and then at the end you have to fight an enemy, but like you have to go into this mission and like perform rituals and kill the hive bosses that are there, and to power because every hive boss that you kill powers Eris, gives her more power because she's apparently going to fight Xivu Arath. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, I got feelings on that one.
Yeah, I do.
Like,
mm, I mean, I wonder if Eris is going to be the one that's done before the final shape.
it's funny that you say that because that was kind of the thought that I had. Like, Eris has long been on the bingo card for who's going to die next.
Uh-huh.
And I know that we personally felt like her story had reached a conclusion after Haunted.
Yeah.
Um,
Clearly not.
Clearly not. Yeah, clearly they thrust us into a new one. But also, like, Moira, who voices her, is just so good. She's so
Mhm.
fucking good.
Yeah.
I want we had a question about this. We have a couple questions about Eris. So the first one, I want to circle back to what Ronnie was asking, and he asks in response to episode 3, which is going to be Heresy. Is Heresy the place where Eris takes over the hive for good once and for all?
I'm I'm thinking maybe
Does
uh
Eris lose? Does she lose herself along the way?
I wonder if this is more of a, almost in a way that Sloane almost got taken, right? Like
Yep.
I think this is going to be that sort of situation, but like Eris might, if she beats Xivu Arath and the hive like worship her, I wonder if she's going to turn, or if there's going to be some sort of like, I don't know, maybe is this the way we get the hive to be part of our team against the witness? Like,
I'm thinking the same thing personally. Yeah.
yeah, it's I wonder if that's what the dungeon's going to be, is Xivu Arath at some point.
Yeah, I wonder that as well personally. I don't know.
Yeah. Because I mean, obviously Xivu Arath's not part of the raid. I mean, she might be, but like not the final whatever, right? Um I don't know, man. I don't know. Eris is she's always been that character where like she could flip-flop sides any time at any time and you wouldn't be surprised, right? And I I wonder if she's going to take control of the hive with this magic.
Yeah, I think the other question I think you have to ask yourself is, does she become an actual hive god? Because I mean, you have Savathun, the god of trickery, you have obviously Xivu Arath, the god of war.
Mm-hmm.
Is she now like the god of vengeance?
Yeah, that was my theory that I was going to bring up earlier was, if she ends up like, say Savathun fights Xivu Arath and somehow dies and Imaru is gone or whatever, right? And like that's like the final like that's enough power to put Eris over the edge, right? To where like
Hmm.
she doesn't even recognize herself anymore to fight Xivu Arath and kill Xivu Arath. Um, and then she might, like you said, she might become the next hive god, and maybe she becomes either a villain or some. I don't know how you tackle that situation, but that was kind of my theory. Was like
Right.
Savathun, you resurrect Savathun to kind of like almost be a distraction, really. Uh, and like she dies, and then this whole season is based off of getting Eris power by killing hive bosses. And I mean, Savathun's the ultimate hive boss aside from Xivu Arath now. So
Yeah, no, they make sure that you know that Imaru actually, I believe, is the one who tells you that Xivu Arath is the witness's best general.
mhm.
Um, eh, I wonder if and I feel like we were told this in if you start doing the altars enough and you get some of the dialogue in between,
Mhm.
there's so much shit talking that's going on
Yeah.
between Imaru and Ikora and Eris and things like that. It's so great. Like even the cutscene where Eris does Eris is about to do the transformation, the Guardian just snatches Imaru out of the air and like threatens to crush him.
Yeah.
You need me. No, we need your silence.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's great. I love that sassy Imaru is back.
Yeah. It kind of, I mean, I kind of forgot about Imaru's personality, to be honest. Just because he hasn't really been around a whole lot. And it was kind of like, oh, well, maybe hive ghosts are just sarcastic, and that because Finch is kind of the same way, but in a more lighthearted way, where Imaru is kind of like a deceiving kind of, you know, it's just funny to hear him talk.
Yeah, the voice actor for Imaru is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
I love it so much.
yeah. Man, Imaru. So, but
Yeah,
yeah, that was my theory. So,
yeah. I wonder where we go with this because this can't end well.
no, it's not going to end well for anybody.
This absolutely is not going to end well. We've also got hints at the dark timeline
Mm-hmm.
in the first round of lore that we've gotten for this season,
Yeah,
which is really really cool, and I really like it.
yeah. Yeah, it's the dark timeline, man. I wonder, is there going to be a situation where the dark timeline and this timeline are going to merge at some point?
I mean, so here's the problem. Elsie's actual dark timeline has already passed.
Yeah.
The divergent point for that was Beyond Light, and none of those events played out. And I don't think that, they won't at this point. We forged the alliance with Keitel. We put Savathun down, even though we're gonna have to bring her back. We put her down. Eris is clearly not transforming into the Witch Queen, at least not yet. And the Pyramid Fleet is not going to assault the last city that we know of. That we know of. That's just at this point, it's too much to do in one expansion. So I think we're fairly safe on that front.
Yeah.
The question just is like, does Eris eventually lose herself?
Yeah.
So I am a little curious to see what happens with that one. There's so much going on.
I know.
Already this season. What do you think about the deck? I have to ask because this seems like a system that either you love it or you absolutely hate it because it's so convoluted.
Here's the thing. I fucking hate deck builders.
So this isn't like a real deck builder though.
I know it's not.
There's only 12 cards.
I know. I mean, I know it's not, but like, man, when they said that, and I like before I actually like looked into it and like really kind of, I was like, are you really putting a deck builder in Destiny?
I actually loved it.
Oh,
I was thrilled that Johnny and I both got very excited. Our friend Ray Apollo was texting me during the show and was like, "Oh my god, they put a card builder in the game. I'm here for it. I'm thrilled. Let's go."
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. I will say you have to get 5 of the major cards unlocked to do their respective quests before you can actually have the deck. It does make the Spire and the Altars activities significantly more fun. One of the guys I was playing with yesterday had the one completed. Obviously, he had enough to have the deck going, but had the one where you have a chance to generate heavy ammo on kills. There were like 30 bricks in the arena by the time we were done with the tier 3 summoning.
Yeah, I think that's one of the ones that I got because there was a lot of.
I mean, yeah, it's one of the only 5 you can earn this week.
Yeah,
so everybody has the same 5. It's important to note as of week 1, you all have the same 5 major cards. The minor cards I think are a little more. I think you can earn the same minor cards too, but those drop Some of them at random, some of them from working through the vendor ranks. There's one hidden behind one of the trees in the summoning area with Eris.
Yeah.
And like all of those are like the minor ones. Some of them will give you combat abilities. They'll just be like passives that are applied. Others are one use things. Like I have a couple that have given me 20 enhancement cores. I have one that's given me an exotic Ingram, one that's given me extra Ingrams for the season, a free deep sight weapon, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I like that that's in the game. It makes you feel like when you find one of these things, you're getting something for it, and that very much is the purpose of the deck of many things.
Yeah,
this is D&D, and it's one of my favorite things in D&D. In fact, in the campaign I'm playing in, that's been going on for years, we came across the deck a while back. I guess it was last year sometime, and my character got extremely lucky and drew twice from the deck and drew 2 wishes, which means you can wish for anything, and you wish for it and it happens.
Ooh.
But there's like your DM can like obviously there's caveats to it. You have to be incredibly specific. It's funny because it almost makes you wonder if like Ahamkara are going to be brought back into this, because Ahamkara are wish dragons.
Right.
And it's noted that you have to be extremely specific with your wish to an Ahamkara, or, it's kind of like the monkey's paw idea. So I don't know. I know that for a long time, the joke has been in the community, we got to break the curse of the Dreaming City. And it really does feel like if we're bringing Savathun back, we got to break the curse.
Is the witness killing the witness the curse? Like,
no, it's so the whole purpose of why Mara wanted to kill Savathun was she thought killing Savathun would break the curse of the Dreaming City.
Yeah, but
she didn't succeed, and killing a Savathun died, as a result of the ritual, not because Mara killed her.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, at that point, it was like, well, it's got to be tied to something else. Like the wish that Savathun made was so specific that even her death wasn't going to stop it.
Yeah.
And it's thought that, Xivu Arath is getting the tribute now and this and that. Like, there's so many intricacies to it. I can't help but feel that we have to circle back to this at some point, because that's one of the biggest question marks of the series right now, I think, of like side plots that we've had throughout at least Destiny 2. That's something that's been hanging over us for 5 years now.
Yeah.
5 years have passed since Forsaken came out, and we're just kind of like, any day now. We thought we were solving this 2.5 years ago. We thought we were solving this 3.5 years ago. I still remember when we saw the original whiteboards for the Shadowkeep reveal, and they were talking about seasons and how seasons were going to work. If you paused and zoomed in, we were all seeing like fix the timeline was one of them, and we were like, oh my god, we're gonna save Cayde. Oh my god, we're gonna break the curse of the Dreaming City. And then we brought Saint 14. We brought Saint 14 to the present day. That's what we chose to do with this power. Okay, which, to be fair, Saint's been cool, but never underestimate the Destiny community's ability to like just jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm very curious to see what happens with this deck as we get further in. If I had to guess, by the end of week 3 of the season, you probably have all the major cards available to unlock, since you can do 5 of them now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 7 weeks of story, which is pretty notable compared to the few weeks that we got in Defiance. Last season, we technically got 6, but it really felt more like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
If that's 7 weeks of actual story and not just filler, then I think we're in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
Both of the activities are really fun to me.
Yeah.
But Ronnie noted in another comment that he made to us that he feels like the Spire activity is going to get really old really fast.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
He goes, climbing the Spire is going to get old quick. Think about it. 4 weeks from now, Josh is going to need to do a legend one. The conversation is going to go like this. Me, hey, Josh, you got to climb the Spire on Legendary 3 different times for your title. I know how much you love your pins. Josh, Jesus fucking Christ, I guess, well, when are we going to go run it? There is going to be a legend version of the Spire, I believe. I actually don't mind it. It's just not something that, unless the story dictates it or there are triumphs associated with it, that I'm going to run to do every week.
Yeah.
I've already found the 2 hidden chests you can find for this week. I need to figure out how to get Arc empowered, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be tied to like a major card, for example,
Yeah.
in your deck. But there are a couple of those cards scattered throughout, like card spots that I have found that I'm sure secrets are tied to.
Yeah.
In the Spire, and I'd like to do that. I want to see like do subsequent weeks have different paths. There are other paths that you can't unlock just yet. I love mysteries like this, and I don't think the combat is too bad in there. I actually think it's pretty fair.
Yeah.
The altars, on the other hand, can get out of hand really fast.
Can I say one thing about
You can absolutely say
the
something.
Spire real quick?
Yeah.
So I did it a couple times, and nobody would punch the damn crystals.
And that's, you're not the only one who's noted that.
Ugh.
They actually, and they make you go through a tutorial. They have pop-ups and everything that tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
That and the solar crystals is downright infuriating that nobody does it. Like, they all know to go shoot the void crystals or punch them, but they won't punch the arc ones, and they won't. Also, like, how many people have clearly never done prevent the Vex from sacrificing themselves public event? It is downright infuriating, and it's just like, I know that the tier 3 versions are supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be a challenge. People, please don't do them if you don't know the mechanics.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. It's gotten to the point already where altars is something that I'm probably only going to do with friends that I know have been keeping up with, like, the deck building.
Yeah.
Because those give you perks inside.
Yeah.
And that can make it drastically easier for you. I mean, there's kill streak perks, and things like that. Like, it helps so much when you're fighting 6 fucking Shriekers and Hive Guardians and everything else all at once. Like, it's fun, it's frantic. I like it. There's no real penalty to failing.
Yeah.
It's just really frustrating. I mean, obviously, if you succeed, like, your rewards are going to be better and whatnot. There's no shortage of loot in that activity either.
Yeah.
They've been very generous with the loot. You're not on a lockout from that. The only thing that I've seen that you're on a lockout from are the secret chests in the Spire. You're limited on those to once a week, I think.
Yeah.
You can get the first 2 now, and they're really not that hard to get.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of this, and like, there's all these secrets, because it very much plays in like that theme of the Witch Queen, where like, oh, there's hidden secrets to find in the Throne World.
Yeah.
And it's kind of taking that concept and taking it to a new level, which I'm really happy for. It just makes me wonder how much more could we do if we actually were able to ditch last gen.
Yeah.
Which, I hate to go back to the showcase. This was something I harped on in the post show. I really hate that they didn't address the technical future of the game.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like that was pretty desperately needed.
Yeah. Do you think they'll address it like next year, since like the Witch Queen is obviously staying on last gen consoles?
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to. I really think they have to come out and say that the episodes are going to be the last thing that they do.
Yeah. I also think like maybe that 10th anniversary event, if they do one, would be like a nice send off for those consoles. I mean, I think you said that earlier.
I've become a believer that I think that's pretty like nostalgia filled with like older content. Maybe that's when you like bring the stuff out of the vault for good.
Yeah.
And things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, let's do we have any more like basic thoughts on the season? I don't really have any thoughts on the weapons. Haven't had a chance to play around with them quite yet. It's been a little busy the last 48 hours.
Yeah. I do like the scout rifle, but we can talk about that when you play around with some of them.
Let's punt. Let's punt some weapon talk. Let's punt weapon talk and talk of the PvP map the next week.
Yeah.
We got to kind of pat these episodes out a little bit. But Corey, for right now, let's shift over, and this is how busy my week has been. I haven't really had a chance to read the TWAB in detail yet. So I'm going to fly through here and see if there's anything that we need to know that hasn't already been addressed.
I mean, I think most of it is just recap. I mean, I read like half of it earlier. I think most of it is just recapping the showcase.
Oh, okay. So we don't make it a point to talk about data mines on this show. This is about Eververse, though, so I feel pretty okay talking about it. There's something in the TWAB today. I saw something floating around on release day about there were 2 Eververse sets planned for this season in Eververse, and one of them is the season is the armor, the new Eververse armor that we are getting at the vendors now. The other looked like the season of the Worthy armor, and I was a little confused. And then today in the so that was data mined. Like those files are actually there.
Yeah.
And it was data mined further that some of the season pass cosmetics are also going to be part of like a 1,000 silver bundle.
Mm.
Whether those cosmetics also include the armor or if they're going to be sold separately, it does seem that cosmetics from Worthy are coming back. Follow up within the TWAB, it says later in the season of the witch. Oh yeah, here we go. They actually outright confirm it here. I'm stupid. I didn't even read this sentence. We're planning on bringing back a selection of cosmetic items from previous season passes to the Eververse. For players who missed out on acquiring them, we'll be starting with a handful of items from Season of the Worthy. This nostalgic throwback, which we're calling seasonal flashbacks, will only be available during weeks 4, 5, and 6. In the future, other seasonal items may return. So if there are any coveted items you'd like to see again, shout out the D2 team account as feedback. More info on future offerings at a later date. Here is the big question, and I almost guarantee you I know the answer to this. Can we get a discount for those who already own those season passes?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this doesn't like affect me because I always finish my season pass.
Mm-hmm.
But like, for example, I have several friends who did not play during Dawn or Worthy, and are like, I want my State 14 armor.
Yeah.
Or like they had the season pass and they just didn't finish it.
Yeah. I mean, I had the season pass and I didn't finish it.
Or like if you were able to claim some of the items and like not all of them, can you get a discount? Like,
right.
Who knows if Bungie will actually do that? I really would like to see that though. I think that would be fair.
Yeah.
But that won't make you money either.
So you said 1,000 silver?
That was the rumor. I'll have to see if I can find an exact if I can find the exact tweet. If I can, then we'll talk about it next week.
Okay.
But I'll have to scroll. I don't remember where I saw it. Is the problem?
Yeah, I mean that seems pretty reasonable. If you didn't buy the
Yeah, I
season
think
pass,
that was for some of the cosmetics. Again, like I just don't know. I know that for sure, like the finisher and an emote were a part of it. I don't know if that also included the armor or not. But I would imagine that to buy both is probably going to cost you a little bit more than the season pass would have. To be like, hey, you missed out on this, but we're still going to let you get it. Kind of as like, oh, well, if you do the season pass when it comes out, you're going to pay less in the long run.
Yeah.
I also think like that stuff is 3 years old.
Yeah.
I'm pretty okay with that. That's 3.5 years old.
Yeah,
that was March 2020. I'm okay with that coming to the Eververse by this point.
Yeah, but it should that stuff should also be maybe in the Bright Dust rotation too.
Yeah, so I don't know if Bright Dust is going to be used for any of this either. It is worth noting I only heard about the silver. I didn't hear any Bright Dust prices.
Yeah.
If they offer this up for Bright Dust, that's a massive win.
Yeah.
And that would be a much needed move in the eyes of the community, I think.
Yeah.
So hey, if you missed out on season passes, start campaigning. I know everybody really wants to see the everyone wants to see the butt plug helmets come back. So let's see that. I also, as we're going through this TWAB, I really like that they focus on the new quest UI. It is so useful.
Yeah, they kind of look like the event cards almost.
Kind of. I love when you open it up though, you can launch directly to the space you need to go to for the next step of your quest. That has made it so easy playing with people who don't play a lot of Destiny like I do.
Yeah.
Just tell them, yep, just open it up and launch it. It's great. It's great. I love it.
Yeah.
That's featured quests. You can have I think they can have 8 different quests there. Quest lines Destiny 2 thinks you should prioritize. The goal here is to make it a little easier to maneuver between content no matter when it was released. Players just starting out on their journey may only see a single quest at first until more content is unlocked. Players who have taken some time away from Destiny 2 may only see a few active quests. Returning players may have multiple ongoing quests, and now you can launch directly from featured quests. So that's cool. I really like that. There's a lot here on the Strand aspects. Again, like have not really had a chance to play with those. We'll have to bump that to a future episode. But I am really looking forward to playing with this new hunter aspect, which looks fucking wild.
Yeah.
You shoot a tangle and it just starts spinning off like a demented frisbee. I love this thing. Let's talk about the real news here, though, in the TWAB.
Let's do it. News.
Crota's world first race. What was your reaction to Crota being the returning raid? I have to, as a D1 player, I have to know.
I'm not I'm a little bit disappointed, but I understand why it is. right? I mean, this is a Hive season. That
That
store,
was
yeah. I mean,
where we
we
all
talked
came
about it a couple weeks ago, I think, but like, it's a Hive season. All of the Hive gods are now present in D2.
Mhm.
I think they could do some interesting things, like we kind of talked about it earlier, but switching up encounters a little bit to make them more challenging. I wonder if there will be a Lucian Hive in there just to make it harder, not necessarily from like a story standpoint or anything, but just to like give it a little bit more of a challenge. Or, but I mean, I think it's a, I don't know, man. You can run that dungeon in like 30 minutes at some point, and like if you and
Yeah.
your friends are like looking for something to do for an hour or so, you could run Crota, I guess. The armor though, like, did they show off the armor? They showed some of the armor, right? And just like,
Yeah, there's some armor in the teaser video. It looks very much like the Age of Triumph armor.
yeah, yeah, and that'll be worth getting because that Age of Triumph armor was cool.
I love the Age of Triumph armors. That is my hope, is that like they kind of revamp the already re-released rates. If that's going to be included there, like maybe you introduce crafting for Vault of Glass like next season, and you bring the Age of Triumph armor into it also.
Yeah, that would be cool.
And then King's Fall like sometime next year.
Yeah,
Because I think that motivates you to go back in and play, if nothing, just for the ornaments.
yeah,
So I think that would be just kind of a slam dunk move for them, and like like a better late than never scenario.
yeah.
Um, but this Crota's World First race, oh, man. Okay, so I got a little confused when I was reading some of the details on this earlier. Um, it's pretty standard until you get to the end of this. So contest mode is enabled for 48 hours. So of course it's kicking off next Friday, September 1st at 12 p.m. Central. So it'll be at daily reset, whatever your time zone is. Daily reset is when it starts. 48 hours. It'll be lifted at Sunday daily reset. You will need to be at 1790 power to be at the cap for all of the encounters to take the raid on. That's really reassuring to see, that this is not a high cap.
No.
That is extremely reasonable if you've played at all since Lightfall came out.
Yeah.
Clearing the raid with contest mode active is the first step to accessing challenge mode in the director and the special superior swordplay triumph with the challenges for each encounter. To complete the superior swordplay triumph, a fire team must complete a curated list of challenges in this challenge mode and claim the triumph to snag that world's first title and that sweet, sweet belt. To enforce triumph requirements in challenge mode, your fire team will wipe if you fail the success conditions during any encounter. Okay, so pretty standard stuff there. Of course, if you want that special emblem for day one, I believe you have to do the challenge run as well, in addition to contest, which not super jazzed about that. We have two teams that are going to go in as of right now. One at reset, and then one in the evening. For Crota's End, we made some tuning changes to contest mode. Our goal is to maintain a high bar of challenge for the launch event achievements relative to the ever-expanding capabilities of players. This is the particular line that really threw people for a loop, because I can understand how you would get confused here very easily. Increased the cap of player outgoing damage versus combatants. Keep in mind the incoming damage cap did not change. This is a really weird way of saying that you are doing less damage, but you are not taking more damage, and enemies do not have more health.
Yeah.
This is a very convoluted way of saying that. It was so bad that they had to give us a little bit of clarification, which I'm trying to find the tweet right now. We got a little bit of clarification. To be clear about the new contest mode changes, enemies will be more aggressive. Enemies will have more shields. Enemies will have more health. Players will not be squishier. So even I just said it wrong in my interpretation of it. This is just really, really unnecessarily complicated. So not a fan. But this is a fancy way of saying not a whole lot is really changing. I actually don't think it's going to be that much harder.
Yeah.
But that remains to be seen, what the actual raid looks like. So world's first race, going to be interesting. I really do wonder how long it's going to take for the first initial clear, how long that's going to take, because I can't imagine it's more than 2 hours.
Yeah.
Even if they change some of the mechanics up.
Yeah.
And then the challenges. I really wonder what the challenges. I mean, I just there's 4 encounters.
Yeah.
And one of those is running through the Underdark.
Yeah. I wonder
So
if that's going to change at all.
God. Oh, I will almost guarantee you that the cheese ledge is not there anymore.
Oh, no, I doubt it.
That would be nice and convenient.
Yeah.
I really love the title for the raid. It's Swordbearer.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan. Really like the design of the seal. The raid pin looks really cool. The raid ring looks kind of dope.
Yeah.
It's the oversoul on a raid ring.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool shit that they're gonna do for this. So totally here for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Crota's End next Friday. I am a little intimidated.
Do you think they'll ever bring Wrath of the Machine back?
It's got to be the one next year. If they don't do that and they bring back a D2 raid, there's going to be literal marches in the street.
Yeah.
My only guess is kind of like you said, this is a Hive themed season.
Mm-hmm.
We know Bungie works well in advance.
Mm-hmm.
They clearly had a roadmap. It makes sense that it's back. It just feels bad that last year's raid was Kingsfall and now we're getting Crota. It feels bad that we just had a Hive dungeon and now there's a pretty strong likelihood that we're going to get a Hive dungeon next season to deal with Xivu Arath.
Mm-hmm. It would have made more. I'm
over Hive storylines. I don't know how many times I have to say this about this game.
Yeah. I mean, man, I know last year
it's like a tricky place too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know last year, like, it makes sense because the Witch Queen, the Taken King kind of sounds cool when you put them together, but like, would have made much more sense to bring Crota back first.
It would have, but Kingsfall is so beloved.
I know but that would have made this even better, I think, at some point. But I don't. Whatever. It is what it is. And we don't know if they change anything in Crota or not. So Crota could be awesome. Who knows?
It could be, and like part of this is just my sour grapes over really wanting to complete Wrath for the first time.
Yeah.
But I'll set aside my anger and my disappointment.
Well, Josh, I can boot up my D1 save and we can find a group to run through it.
No.
At sub 30 frames a second and old supers with the bubbles.
Oh my god. I will be Swordbearer and Galley Bitch.
Yeah.
Man. But Corey, you know what we're not sad about. You know what's not bumming me out.
What's not bumming you out, Josh?
Well, I am actually lying. It kind of is bumming me out a little bit. The amount of questions that we have this week.
Yeah, why don't you guys ask these on slow weeks, guys? Come on.
We're gonna go straight. We're gonna go straight to questions because there's so much here to talk about.
Yeah.
And this show's already over an hour long.
Yeah.
And of course, the return of Lore Corner is this week, so we got to get to that.
Yeah.
Link Chef writes in.
Hold on, Josh. All right, we're back. Sorry, I had to pee really bad.
Very good. Corey, Link Chef writes in. It says, from what you've seen of the showcase, the post-show, and the previous work of the developers, how excited are you now for the future of Destiny 2?
I'm very excited. I'm actually shocked they didn't say that this was the end of Destiny 2 and that they would do 2 years of episodes and then reveal Destiny 3 or something. But
I really think they just want to keep the attention on the final shape for now.
No, I understand.
If that announcement comes next August, I would not be shocked at all.
Yeah.
And I think that would make sense. Like, be like, yeah, hey, we're going to use this as a stopgap year to put out the final content for Destiny 2, and then we're going to Destiny 3.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just dropping the 2 in general. We've both been proponents of dropping the 2 for a long time. Who knows what that's going to look like. And that kind of leads into Link's second question. Does episode sound like an upgrade, a downgrade, or is there not enough info yet to know in your opinion? On paper, this is an upgrade.
Yeah, on paper, it's definitely an upgrade. Now, let's see. I'm gonna say this, Josh, with a caveat. Okay?
Yep.
I'm going to say, let's give it more than one season before we judge on it, because they're going to take this and they're going to experiment with stuff, and some stuff's going to work and some stuff's not going to work, and we just got to be patient as impatient
more than a season. How about more than a day?
Yeah.
Like, there's already people complaining about this season because they've already reset their vendor ranks, and there's a problem with it.
Yeah. Well, look, those aren't normal people. Okay.
No, not. It's disgusting. But yeah, on paper, I think this sounds like an upgrade. Link, I know you weren't playing during the Forsaken era. How
Oh,
that pass panned out and how the expansion passes before that played out, kind of getting a mix of the best of both worlds with the lessons that they've learned since Arrivals, really does feel like the best way forward
yeah.
for DLC for the franchise. On paper, this sounds really great. This sounds like it's got a little bit of everything that we want. If I had to guess, I think that map pack they're developing is probably targeting episode 2.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, we don't have enough information just yet. I would expect information to be in a big blowout after the raid of the final shape has come out. Like the week after that raid, I expect a huge blowout on information on episodes.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll talk about it a little bit in the lead up to it, but I really think they want the attention on that final expansion and on that story. They really it really feels like they want to deliver on this. Like everyone there knows the mark was missed with Lightfall.
Yeah.
And we've seen what happens when Bungie feels like they failed on something and the community lets them know. We've seen what happens.
Yeah.
Look at everything that happened in Destiny 2 Year 1 led to Forsaken. The disappointment in Seasons and Shadowkeep led to Chosen and Splicer and the Witch Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it sometimes takes a while. Like, the disappointment in Lightfall, like, hopefully leads to an awesome, destination and an awesome storyline for the final shape.
Yeah. I also wonder if when they decided to split this into 2, they just didn't have enough time to maybe get all their ideas into Lightfall.
I mean, I would say almost absolutely, because you would have had to do 2 new destinations, and we've seen them do 2 destinations before, but
2 new destinations, a new subclass.
Yeah. You probably wouldn't have gotten your light aspects in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I think those are going to be given to us in the course of the story, I believe. And that makes sense. We're inside the Traveler. We're getting the Traveler's power.
Yeah.
It makes sense that we're getting new upgrades.
Yeah.
Anyways, Titan Class for the win, which new member in our Discord. Welcome. Do you think we're going to have to put Eris down finally? It's too soon to say, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If we put Eris down in a fucking seasonal activity, I'm going to be so upset.
Yeah.
I do think we will have to fight her at some point.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be some ritual to either try to bring her back, right, from that.
Mm-hmm. I really hope that we see Xivu Arath in the flesh this year.
Yeah.
We've only ever seen the sketches, and they're terrifying, by the way.
Well, yeah.
I want to see Xivu Arath, like, approaching the throne world or something.
Man, remember when Savathun was first revealed, though? Oh my god, that was scary, too.
Oh my god, it was awesome. It was so cool. That is still probably the best reveal trailer they've ever done.
Yeah.
Because we were all so convinced we were going to old Chicago.
I know.
Bunch
of dumbasses.
Sam, the Lord of Bananas, comes in. If you were resurrected as a guardian, which planet or place would you visit first?
Mars.
You're going to Mars?
Yeah, I like Mars. I'm
going to the Queen's Court.
I mean, I'm saying like as a planet, not as a destination in Destiny, but I think going to Mars would be so cool. Plus, like the entire story of finding the Traveler and everything begins on Mars. Like that's so cool. I don't know. I think that'd be cool. Plus, like I want to see a Braytech facility, and
I'm going to the Queen's Court first.
Yeah,
I'm hanging out with Mara and Petra. We're getting Thai takeout. We're hanging out. Cade's gonna bring the dumplings. We're just gonna chill. We're gonna chill for a while.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great. But in all reality, though, I really would like. I probably would go to the tower.
Yeah. I was thinking more planets than like tower being a destination, I guess. But yeah, I mean the tower would be cool. I would. Yeah, you're right.
And Sam also has a follow-up question. Sam asks, along those lines, what would you snack on first? Spicy Rama, the Eva cookies, Galler Doodles, man.
Yaller doodles.
Give me. I gotta have some Yaller doodles. Some dark chocolate moats.
Yeah.
But I'm also like,
you gotta have
I
spicy
mean,
ramen with Cade though, right?
you gotta have ramen with Cade.
In that
We gotta like dine under his picture too.
Yeah, in that nasty blue drink that he was drinking in the very first Destiny 2 trailer.
Oh my god, yeah. Ugh. I was so happy they showed that during the retrospective.
Yeah.
I had forgotten all about that. I was like, oh, this is so great. Like, and it really brings it all full circle.
Yeah.
When they're talking about like there was only one solution for who guides you through the final shape.
Yeah.
And it had to be Cade 6. And
question for you.
Yes.
Do you think Cade makes it out of this?
Yeah.
Do you think he moves with us forward on this?
I hope so. I really hope so. I really hope that part of the post-campaign content is us figuring out how to bring Cade back to life, quote unquote. You have the expert on exos with Anna. So,
and there's that machine in the Clovis Bray facility on Europa.
Man, it's just like what's the logistics of taking like Cade's Force Ghost out of the Traveler-seat and back to Mars?
Yeah, that's or if we know how to get that contraption there and we take Anna Bray with us, she doesn't.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that like everybody is coming with us into the portal.
Yeah.
I imagine like the scene where they're showing of like our Guardian powering up our ship and like the fleet starting to move towards it gave me literal chills.
Well, weren't they all sitting around they showed everybody though, right? In the Pale Garden, like they showed everybody there, right?
We see the Vanguard for sure.
Yeah.
I'm talking like I want fucking Kaido's cruiser. I want Mithrax and Spider's ships coming in. I want the Derelict hauling this army of Taken in. I need that. I need Savathun and Imaru just like fly. This is like I need the Avengers Portal equivalent in Destiny.
Yeah.
But I need the Portal's music playing with it so I can cry within the first 5 minutes of the expansion.
Yeah. Do you think Crow meets Cade? Do you think that happens?
100%. This thing is going to be so fan servicey. That's part of it. Like, this is going to be so cheesy on a monumental level because they're going to give us so many fan moments. I can only hope and pray that they take Shax's helmet off at some point in the final battle.
What if he goes to take it off and then they just pan away from him?
I would laugh so fucking hard, and I would just love for everybody to kind of like crank their necks and go, huh, that's what he looks like, and we don't get to see anything.
Yeah.
That is the exact kind of humor that I feel like they would go for. Like, but it would be Cade doing it, and everybody else is just totally unfazed. But Cade and Crow are just like, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
And this is like a very like side tangent thing that might not happen, and it's not fan servicey at all or anything, but like when Zavala and Ikora see Cade for the first time, like I expect Ikora and Cade to hug it out, right? But I expect Cade to crack some sort of joke at Zavala, like, "Hey, Big Blue, looks like that office chair's been good to you," and he like pats him on the stomach, like he's just like
he's put on some pounds.
Yeah.
You just like hear something in the distance and it's the Shax's workout music.
Yeah.
Virtual Massacre asks us if you could take the mechanics from any of the dungeons and raids and put them together in any fashion and make them your own, what would you use and what would the theme be? This is kind of a play off our build your own raid that we did a couple years ago.
Yeah.
With Colonel Panic and Nerd Generalist.
Mm-hmm.
Virtual, do you mind if I stick a pin in this one?
Because we still have to do that exotic
I want to combine this with Cade's question from about a month ago of the build your own exotic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna recruit a friend or two, and we're gonna come in. We're gonna recruit some from our Tower Casuals LFG. We haven't done this in a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna bring in some friends. We're going to do this. Let us get through these next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end of September, I'm sure there's going to be a slow week with story, and we will we'll assemble the crew to build a raid and build an exotic on the stream.
Yeah,
we'll do it. We'll do it here. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. We're gonna do that later on in September. Just let us get through these first couple weeks and get through the raid.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna I'll copy and paste your question into the document that I have Kate's question in already.
Mm-hmm.
Basebone 98 writes in with 2 questions. First one, with the new supers for the light subclasses, do you think we will have new supers for the darkness subclasses during the final shape or after during one of the episodes? That would actually, I think, be really cool for the episodes.
Yeah.
To finally give us like a second stasis super for each class.
Yeah.
We're gonna have 4 supers on some of these classes, and we still have 1 stasis and 1 strand super.
Yeah.
Strand I'm not as offended about because it just came out. But if you were doing it like in that final episode, then okay, you're approaching 2 years. You're at 2 years at that point, basically.
Yeah.
You might as well. But I think that definitely that stasis super, oh Jesus, we're gonna be 4 years in by the time that season's happening. 4 years with only 1 stasis super for each class.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. I think we definitely need that. Second question. How the Traveler shot at the Witness's ship during Lightfall. Do you think the Traveler beam gun will be Destiny's equivalent to Halo's Spartan laser? Oh god, I hope so. I like that thing's gotta be a heavy trace rifle, and I want you lugging it around like a detached turret from Halo.
Go third person.
Oh god, dude.
Finish the promise.
John and I were laughing and we were talking about this. If they hadn't shown this here, I would be absolutely convinced that this is the exotic for the Final Shape raid.
Yeah.
It still could be.
Yeah.
But I love the fantasy idea of every Guardian that's in that fight. And like we've talked about that. I think we talked about this in the Builder raid at one point. Everybody gets a relic of some kind. What if everybody gets a Traveler gun for the final stand?
I mean, that'd be amazing.
And like you have that, and then you have like the main Destiny theme kick in.
Yeah, that's got to be the main theme for the raid, right? Like the final boss battle.
I really hope that it's one of those things where like when you trigger the final stand, it goes into like I want it to be one of those where like you go into final stand, but you've already beaten him.
Yeah.
And you get like the Traveler gun and like the Destiny, like one of the original Destiny themes, or even like the OG like Destiny 2 theme kicks in.
Yeah. And then
I would love for it to be the music that you get when you storm the city to take it back.
Yeah.
I would love for that music to come in.
And then Paul McCartney pops out.
Oh my god. Dude, listen, if they play Hope for the Future, I'm gonna scream. I need it being like the club version though that they had in the Fallen nightclub on the Tangled Shore.
Yeah.
I need them doing that. I need a remix of it. Like I've always said that God, this is gonna be a really deep cut. Once upon a time, they used to change the music in the tower all the time.
Yeah.
The original theme that you used to get when you went to the Destiny 2 tower is because the first time you hear that theme, that really upbeat music, is when you beat the Red War for the first time and you're talking to the Vanguard.
Mm-hmm.
And it was not one of those tracks that was on a loop. It would play once, and when it was done, that was it. You got generic tower music after that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like one of the most triumphant pieces of music.
Yeah.
In the series, and it's literally the track name is literally The Last City.
Yeah.
That is the music that I associate with the tower the most. I need, when you return after you beat that raid or after you beat the campaign for the first time that you go to the tower afterward, I need that music to play.
Yeah.
Like when you're going around, like people are fucking. It's gonna be like it's gonna be fucking Return of the Jedi out there. Okay, they're gonna be Jar Jar Binks is gonna be edited and yelling "We sa free." It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great for everyone. I'm gonna cry profusely. It's gonna be beautiful for everyone.
Yeah, I really think the final shape's gonna be just because I wonder if they expect like people to drop off after this, right? Like.
I think that they've shown an awareness that they know this is the end for a lot of people. I mean, even a lot of friends that we have, this is the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, realistically, like they addressed it repeatedly in the showcase. How often do you get to work on the same game for 10 years?
Yeah.
Tell the same story for 10 years. Like that's such a privilege to get to grow the game and evolve it. Like, there's a handful of games I can think of that have been able to do that.
WoW, Final Fantasy 14.
That's about it.
Yeah.
That's literally about it.
Yeah.
Guild Wars back in the day.
Yeah, but that wasn't 10 years though. I mean, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Like that's, man, I can't believe it. It's like, man,
it's coming.
It is.
It's coming. We have another question about episodes from Tiger Jesus.
Tiger Jesus.
Do y'all think we will still get 2 dungeons and 2 raids a year with the episodes format?
I mean,
2 raids. I mean, the way that this is structured, I'm going to go yes, because you have a raid that always comes with the expansion, and then you still have the room for 2 dungeons and for another raid. They've already confirmed there is a dungeon key for next year. That is part of the $100 package.
Yeah, which is 2 dungeons. So we're getting at least 2 dungeons, and then a reprise raid probably, right? I mean,
yeah, I would until Wrath of the Machine is in here. I'm saying you're getting a reprised raid. I don't want to see the Destiny 2 raids. I would just like for them to just bring them back. Just bring them back.
Yeah.
I don't need updated mechanics on any of them. Just bring them back in. Yeah. Let us enjoy them as they are. Maybe make the 2 raid layers into dungeons, but other than that,
yeah,
there's really nothing else to do.
Yeah. Man,
yeah, I mean, just any other thoughts? I think that's kind of straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jiggly Panda writes in with 2 activities, of course, with 2 activities, 2 questions. I was already reading the question.
How dare you?
When they announced the new activities for the season, was I the only one who heard one of the activities was a 6-man activity? I went to look and was surprised there was not. No, I was absolutely convinced that altars activity was supposed to be a 6-man activity.
Yeah, it is. It is 3, right? I mean, it's
it is 3. I was absolutely convinced that was a 6-man activity. I thought I heard that too. You are not crazy. I need to go back and clearly listen to that part of this again, but I thought that was a 6-man activity.
Yeah.
Imagine my surprise when I went in and found out there was also a way to make it a tier 3 on the first day and got my ass beat. And then, what is the Mount Rushmore for Destiny 2 DLC reveals? I mean, there's only been 5 expansions, so I don't want to be like the asshole who just leaves Shadowkeep off of this. Let's go. I would say let's go top 3 here, Corey.
Top 3.
Yeah, we're axing a president.
Well, you know.
So, sorry, Teddy Roosevelt. I don't know. I don't know if Teddy is on Mount Rushmore or not, but
the Witch Queen. The Witch Queen is 1 for me.
For me, 1 is Forsaken.
Yeah.
It's real because Forsaken, and they noted this when they talked about some of the flashback missions. Forsaken was the point that brought so many of us back to Destiny, the death of Cayde 6, because we had to see how it played out, and that's how it got its hooks into most of us.
Yeah. That opening mission too, man, is so good.
Oh, dude, I'm so happy it's back in. I'm actually, if you play those missions, there are rewards that are tied
Monte Carlo
to the past that you get. Yeah. Well, Monte Carlo's the quest reward. If you actually just play the mission, though, there are legendary weapons that are tied to them.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
I gotta go Forsaken here. I'm gonna go Witch Queen number 2.
Yeah. Are we just doing Destiny 2?
Just Destiny 2.
Okay.
Just Destiny 2. I don't remember the Destiny 1 reveals, truthfully.
I remember the Taken King one was
I remember the original E3 presentation, which I mean would probably top all of them because I was just my jaw was on the floor.
Yeah, I mean that's yeah.
And then finding out that Joe Staten was actually playing that in real time.
Yeah.
And it was not pre-recorded. Number 3 for me has to be, despite how it turned out, I would go. It's weird because like I really love the presentation they did this week. But I think what they were able to put together during the pandemic for Beyond Light was something really special.
Yeah. The Beyond Light reveal trailer was awesome too.
The reveal trailer was really cool. I liked the marketing that was leading up to it, but also remember the reactions we had when we got not only that announced, but then they announced the Witch Queen and they announced Lightfall at the same time.
Yeah.
And that has warped everyone's expectations. So I thought that was really cool. And then they confirmed, during the Witch Queen reveal that we were going to be getting the final shape.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tie between the Beyond Light one. It was so cool to finally see a new subclass. It was the first time ever we'd gotten a new subclass. Well, first time since the Taken King. And yeah, new supers, new abilities for the first time. Um, but man, I really loved this week's showcase, even though it felt like they were intentionally holding back.
Yeah.
Just, and I think it's the nostalgia that got me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one was pretty good.
I also think that like part of what affects our thoughts is like how good the expansion ends up being.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I think the original Destiny 2 reveal was good.
Yeah.
But I don't put it on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Witch Queen and Forsaken are definitely on there.
I think those are like pretty easily the top two, and you can fight it out for the third one.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the Beyond Light one though. I
really like. I mean, if you were gonna do 4, then I think Beyond Light and Final Shape are on there.
Yeah.
Just like Bungie doesn't miss when it comes to these reveals, in my opinion.
I know they don't.
Like
so good, man.
Shadowkeep and Lightfall are kind of the odd man out, and like I think Lightfall really is only that way because so much of it leaked ahead of time.
Yeah.
I was so that is another note. I'm so happy that nothing leaked on this.
Yeah.
Nothing leaked. None of the websites were live early. We were well into the post show before we could even get the websites working.
Yeah.
It was so refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
Cade's Ace in the Hole writes in and goes, I'm currently driving from South Carolina to Pennsylvania with 2 3-year-olds on an 11-hour drive. Yeah, right. What are your favorite things to do while driving, whether it be podcasts, audiobooks, music, etc.? And what's the longest drive you've ever gone on?
Oh, God.
Thanks for keeping me occupied with the podcast.
Let's see. I love podcasts. I love listening to podcasts. But obviously that's not the only thing, especially like, with my wife and, now 2 kids, like they're not going to want to listen to my kind of podcast. Right. So
no.
But I mean, when I'm driving, I usually just listen to podcasts. And the longest trip, I mean, I drove to Boston. We drove to the Carolinas for vacation. So yeah, we drove last year's trip. When we went to the beach last year, that trip was pretty long.
Yeah, I'm a guy who I like listening to podcasts, but I can only do that for like an hour or two, and then I start getting really bored and sleepy. I tend to listen to music, and it's my girlfriend does not like my music. So I have to kind of like balance it out. Like if she falls asleep, then I like kind of like gently turn it down, but just enough to where I can still enjoy it. Or now she just takes her AirPods with her.
Yeah.
When we're in the car, we pretty regularly make like 5-6 hour drives though. The longest drive I've ever gone on though was when I was a kid, we did a road trip from Las Vegas out to the Grand Canyon to San Diego to Los Angeles to San Francisco and then back to Las Vegas. Over like a 2-week period, and that sucked.
Yeah, sounds like
that was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. The other worst trip I've ever been on was I went backpacking in high school in New Mexico for 2 weeks, and we took a bus from Dallas out there, and that was horrifyingly bad. That was terrible. I hated that. That was only 12 hours compared to, God, just all my worst stories involve buses. I went as a chaperone on a youth trip when I was 19.
Ooh,
we bused from Dallas, Fort Worth to Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, God. I'm so sorry.
Corey, let me tell you, I was on a bus full of 6th and 7th graders, and it is just one of the worst experiences of my entire life.
I'm so sorry.
There was no sleep being had on that bus. It was terrible. All my worst stories involve buses. I'm going to stop talking. This is bringing up bad memories. I listen to a lot of music. Audiobooks put me to sleep, and podcasts, if I'm in the car, I have to listen to them at like 1.5 speed or 2 speed.
Oh, you're one of those people.
I'm one of those people. I can't do it. The gaps, like people speaking gaps, bother me so much on podcasts that I can't do it. I just can't do it. I also like regularly listen to pods that are like 2 or 3 hours long.
Yeah, so do I.
So they like cover everything under the sun. So Knox writes in about our favorite Elixni. What do you guys like about Mithrax? Everything.
What's not to like about Mithrax?
Yeah, really. Well, and that ties into Knox's next question. Why is he a standout character for you guys? He was the first of an enemy race that we aligned with. we forget Mithrax is in the base Destiny 2 campaign.
Yeah.
You encounter him on Titan and you have the option to free him or kill him.
Yeah.
And the canonical route is clearly that you free him, and he repays that debt by meeting you at the farm and undertaking the 0 hour mission with you to the tower heist.
Yeah, that was cool.
But I think that, and I mean, like, I'll never forget when we saw the Season of the Splicer trailer and he's in it. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, Mithrax is here. We finally have him. Like, they were name dropping him like crazy in the Beyond Light campaign. We were getting refugees onto the ships for him.
Yeah.
And then here he is in the flesh, claws and all.
Yeah.
But I also think, like, Mithrax, we talk about honor is talked about a lot as a Guardian trait, right? And I don't think any character in the franchise other than Zavala exemplifies that trait better than, and maybe Saladin, exemplify that better than Mithrax does. Mithrax is very honorable. He's willing to die for his clan. We see the defense of the tower. Him and Saint rally together despite their differences to protect the Elixni. And he's Mithrax literally pleads with him. Go protect the city. And Saint's like, no, you're my people. I'm protecting. Like, make atoning for your past sins. And Mithrax is very big on that. I think, like, we talk about redemption as a theme in Destiny a lot too, right? We've seen it with Crow, we see it with Mithrax, we've kind of seen it with Keitel, like, atoning for not just their sins, but like the sins of their families and their races. Like, Keitel isn't necessarily atoning for her own sins; she's atoning for Callus and Gaul in a lot of ways. Even though she still kind of agrees with Gaul. But she's clearly come around to our way of thinking now, and Mithrax is atoning for the sins of them being pirates for so many generations, thousands of years.
Yeah.
And I think that, him bearing that responsibility, and especially, like, that's one of the few things that I think Plunder did really well, was showing the inner turmoil in Mithrax. And when he sees that his daughter is threatened, how he basically turns into his old person.
Yeah.
He turns into who he used to be because he's going to kill to protect those that he cares about.
Oh yeah.
And that includes Saint and Osiris at this point. Like, he'll kill to protect them.
Yeah.
And I think that he's just a fascinating character study. He's one of the most well-rounded outside characters that we've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
I look at how they've built Mithrax's story out, and it really makes me bummed out how little they've built out characters like Hawthorne. Even Ikora I don't feel has gotten as much. Like, I look at how, like, Shaxx has gotten nothing. You've gotten stuff in the lore, but in terms of on-screen development, they fleshed him and Keitel out pretty good.
Yeah.
I really love that about him. How do you think he will become a light bearer or guardian in the final shape? I actually think he becomes one. I do think he finally becomes one in the final shape. I feel like that's kind of one of those moments that has to be saved for, like, the happy ending of the game, and, like, Mithrax has a ghost suddenly.
Yeah.
Like, maybe the Traveler releases new ghosts, or, like, he dies during the campaign and is resurrected.
Yeah, that would be my guess, is, like, he dies and then you don't think about him for the rest of the campaign, and then at the end when they're all like, it's finally over, he kind of walks up.
Or he dies in the season leading up to it.
Yeah, because
I think you have to deal with Aramis.
I think you want him to be a guardian going into the final shape, to be honest, so he can, like, I don't know, because I feel like you want Eido to kind of, like, share with him their relationship, and, like,
and that's the thing. She has to be the scribe. She's the scribe. Like, she has to be the one to recount those memories and the stories to Mithrax.
Yeah,
I like that idea. And Nox also notes here to note, Mithrax is one of my favorite characters, and it would be sick if he got the light. We've been saying this basically since the show began, that we feel that Mithrax will be the first Elixni Guardian.
Yeah.
It's time. It's so well deserved. I don't know if there's any character in the franchise that deserves a ghost as much as Mithrax does.
Yeah.
I actually think it would be really funny if we talked in the past about maybe Finch goes off with Eris or something, or maybe Finch and Cayde could team up.
That seems, now that Cade's back, and if we bring him back, that seems like the more likely duo at this point.
He's so sassy that it feels like it would happen.
Yeah.
kind of like, and it would be kind of like Crow and Glint, like they're both like more kind of like melancholy and stuff, and then you've got the two absolute just units of jokes over here.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love that too. Our final question. We're finally at the final question.
What?
Finally. Yes. God, this is going to be a 2-hour episode. Sammy writes in and goes, if you did the ritual Eris did to make yourself a hive god, what would your tithe be? In other words, what we need to do to give you power?
Bring me sandwiches.
Bring Corey sandwiches. Corey, the god of sandwiches.
Yeah.
The Earl of Sandwich,
Yeah.
one might even say.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be a god, he wants to be an Earl.
Yeah. I just want the sandwiches, man. Just bring them on.
Yeah, I think for me, it would be bring me all the chicken nuggets. Bring me scotch.
Bring him scotch.
Bring me high quality scotch and bourbon. Lord of the god of the borderline alcoholic.
Yeah.
But no, in all seriousness, like it would probably be like, bring me like, bring me chicken nuggets as tithes. Grow fat with strength.
Grow fat with strength.
I would want to be like stylized as like Finn, the god of vengeance.
Yeah.
Or something like, I want some like absolutely absurd name, and then you meet me and I'm just like this lovely person. It's kind of like Good Omen. If you've ever watched the show Good Omens, or you've read the book by Neil Gaiman, how an angel and a demon are best friends, and it's like the angel who like was appointed to watch over the Garden of Eden, and the demon that was like the snake in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
But they're best friends, and it shows them like throughout the 6,000 years of existence, and they come together to try and stop the rise of the Antichrist.
Oh God.
Because neither of them wants to go back to heaven or hell.
Jeez.
They want to just keep living on Earth. Like, they're best friends, and the angel runs a bookshop. Oh, it's great. It's absolutely. I highly encourage anyone who likes satire and humor to read Good Omens. It's a great piece of sci-fi work. And watch the 6-episode first season on Netflix. It's great. They just came out with a season 2, which is wholly original. John Hamm is the angel Gabriel.
Oh, that's awesome.
David Tennant is the demon Crowley. And it's I think Michael Sheen is the main angel in the show. It's a great cast. I absolutely love it. So, all that aside, yes, that's what you would have to tithe to me: chicken nuggets and scotch. Corey is taking the more diplomatic route and just saying sandwiches.
Dude, it's been. Here's the thing, Josh.
I really want a good sandwich.
I know, dude. Side tangent. Okay, I've been on this like kind of doctor not prescribed diet, but basically he's like, hey, you are fat, and so
I understand that.
I have not eaten a sandwich in like almost 2 months.
Oof.
I'm very upset.
I feel like you can make a healthy sandwich though fairly easily.
I mean, you could, but that doesn't.
Unless you're like covering it in hollandaise or something.
Dude, that doesn't make it good though.
Or like lathering it in Miracle Whip. What are you putting on there that's unhealthy?
I mean, cheese is not very good for you, dude. Here's the thing, Josh. I lather bread in mayonnaise, like both sides of like both pieces of bread, like a thick layer of.
When you said both sides, I imagined you putting mayonnaise on both sides, and I was just like, "Oh God, Corey, we need to talk off air about your arteries and about your future."
I know, and so yeah, it's I had to stop because I mean I was putting like turkey's not bad for you, but man, 2 slices of cheese on each sandwich and literally nothing else.
that is completely fair.
Salami sometimes.
Man, there's a really good Italian deli like not far from me, and I kind of want to go get a sandwich from there next week.
Do it.
Chelsea's about to have 2 straight weeks. She was supposed to go to Disneyland next week, but that's not happening. So she's got 2 weeks off of work. We might go have lunch at Jimmy's Food Store.
Do it.
It's the actual name of the place, Jimmy's Food Store. It's an old family-owned Italian deli in Dallas. It's great.
Nice.
But all that talk about sandwiches and Jimmy's Food Store aside, we're gonna go to the lore corner for the first time in a long time.
Is it about Earl Sandwich? Is it lore
about Earl Sandwich? Unfortunately, We are not growing fat from strength in today's lore corner. We haven't done one in a while. I do need to read through all the lore for this season, kind of space out how we're going to do this. I really, realistically, now that we kind of know where we're getting to, I need to figure out like what was absolutely essential for us to cover in the next 5 months.
Yeah.
Next 5 or 6 months, what's essential for us to cover. And, you know, still leave plenty of room, obviously, for lore that's going to be on raid items and on, you know, dungeon items next season and things like that. So with all that aside, the next couple weeks we're definitely going to be dealing with a lot of Eris lore from this season. I have done some reading, and we're going to have to space it out. And obviously, as things become declassified in the UI, we can dive into the pieces that they give us for doing the quest each week. This is the Acolyte Staff, though. This is the item that this is the seasonal artifact that we get. And this is a letter from Master Rahul to Commander Zavala.
Ooh.
Commander, speak to me not of the darkness. I want no part. I once cautioned an overeager guardian who loitered near me in the tower. I did not mean their command over strand or stasis, but rather the deep ancient corruption that empowers our enemies and corrodes our very souls. This force, this evil, if I may use such a simplistic term, surrounds us. We must all do what we can to limit our exposure, lest we find ourselves sinking below its dark waves. And so it's with great hesitancy that I examined the unusual Acolyte staff created by Eris Morn and Imaru, the renegade ghost. I find their alliance baffling, as she holds no love for the Hive, and he is the foul creature who resurrected Savathun. But even that is not as strange as the staff itself. In addition to being bound with charms and inscribed with powerful runes, the staff contains a small fragment of Hive Worm. Due to a ghastly ritual and a metaphysical loophole in sword logic philosophy, a guardian wielding the staff is able to transfer the power of their defeated foes to Miss Morn through a blood tithe. Seeking answers, I sought Miss Morn herself. I found her beyond a portal she erected in the helm. She was waiting on an elaborate bone dais in a forgotten corner of Savathun's throne world she called the Anthenium, as it allowed her to study the secrets of Savathun's spire. The seclusion of the locale was appealing, but when Miss Morn began to change, I fled, leaving my curiosity behind me. There is power within the staff, Commander. Terrible power. Speak to me not of the darkness. Master Rahul. I find it funny that a lot of what he lays out here are comments that the community has been making too. Like, oh, this can't possibly go wrong. We erected a portal to the throne world on the fucking helm.
Yeah.
That can't possibly be a bad idea.
Yeah, definitely not.
Because keep in mind, you can walk through that portal and then walk through another portal to Titan and, bring the Leviathan through if you really wanted to.
Jeez, there's too many portals.
Keep in mind, that can all happen.
There's too many portals on this thing. And then we're going through all these portals to go through a portal.
Oh my god, it's a portal paradox. Yeah. It's a perfect paradox, one might say.
This is actually the long game of Bungie's actually making Portal 3.
Oh my god, dude! If we get another portal next season, I feel like we have to make that joke. But I like that he calls out that he calls out about Imaru's behavior and about Eris's behavior, because it kind of calls back to some of the dialogue in the Altars activity this season, where Ikora says to Eris already, she's saying to her how concerned she is that her and the Guardian are reveling in this murder spree, essentially. And Imaru just butts in and is like, hey man, welcome to the Hive. Like, exactly like that. Like, it feels like something I'd be hearing Drifter saying.
Yeah.
But also that he went to go talk to her, and as soon as he saw what she had become, he ran. This motherfucker ran.
Yeah.
Imagine if you look behind you and you saw Eris in her Hive God form chasing you.
Yeah. I wonder if she'll get bigger throughout the season.
Oh, God, I hope so. As she gets more powerful, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how is somebody that tiny supposed to face off against Xivu Arath?
Yeah. Or maybe that's the final ritual where, like, I mean, that's where the Savathun thing comes in, too. Like, maybe she becomes so powerful after Savathun is, like, murdered by Xivu Arath that she just, takes that power and then she grows up like a fucking Power Ranger villain.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh my god. Yeah, this doesn't like necessarily give us a bunch of answers, but it is very interesting. It does confirm that we are beneath the throne world. We're really beneath the spire in a lot of ways. It seems like it's the same type of area where you're doing the altars activity, maybe, like not too far from there.
Yeah.
But just I mean, again, a beautiful skybox down there too.
Yeah.
Just Bungie is undefeated with that, with building
Oh man.
skyboxes, I think.
The best one.
Um
The best guy.
but I like that also there's the line in the sand drawn by Rahul here where he doesn't think that, when he says speak to me not of the darkness I want no part, he doesn't talk about strand or stasis, which was all what it was always thought about at first. Strand was seen as like, oh, that's the power of the darkness and this and that. Like, no, it's a power, and yes, it's a power that, creatures that follow the darkness use, but darkness is like more of a concept in a lot of ways. Um and it seems to like almost be radiating from like the veil in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
The veil is like the complement to the traveler in that regard. And that's how, the witnesses race eventually found it. And that's a whole thing on the veil containment missions. But I like that we're diving into more Hive lore here because Savathun anticipated this was going to happen and left recordings for Eris and Ikora. And even the Guardian, she directly addresses the Guardian in parts of it.
Yeah.
That like she kind of thought this was going to happen. She really planned for these contingencies. I mean, this is like a multi-year plan that we talk about, she arrived in the system before Forsaken because, obviously she stepped into the power vacuum created by Oryx. And we got the first explicit confirmation that she was here during arrivals.
Yeah.
And it was like, she's trying to beat us, she's trying to beat us to the Tree of Silver Wings and, this and that, and is trying to keep us from communing with it.
Yeah.
And, when that failed, I'll just kill Osiris instead.
Yeah.
I'll just take over Osiris's body. So this thing is not to be trusted, and I think Eris knows that, but Eris is like very clearly at the point where like she knows this is the final hour.
Yeah.
Like the hour is nigh, we're out of options. To borrow a line from Michael Bay's Transformers, no sacrifice, no victory.
Yeah.
Like she's going very Shia LaBeouf on me here, and I don't like it.
God, is she gonna shove the Allspark into my chest?
Samuel Witwicky, you must put the cube into my chest. I need Joe Wilson back. I really need Colonel Panic to come back on the show just to do voices for me the whole time. I need a soundboard of him doing the Skeletor voice.
Oh, God.
Corey, get us out of here. Get us out of here before I do more poor impressions.
All right.
I'm going to leave everybody with that voice clip tonight of Optimus Prime.
Jesus. I want to thank everybody for watching or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals. Remember, we do have an Xbox show that goes out every other Tuesday, so check that out if you are looking for other games for us to rant about, or if you don't get enough sandwich talk. Josh, thank you for your time as always tonight.
Of course.
Where can we find you?
You can still find me on Twitter, Josh_Finn. Again, I'm hanging out in the Discord more and more these days. Pretty much moved everything over there. Really enjoying it. Enjoying not being on my phone as much.
Yeah.
It's been refreshing.
Yeah.
Don't have 15 pages open every time I'm on my laptop. It's nice.
Yeah.
And of course, Mondays, Xbox Casuals.
Yeah, Xbox Casuals. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been on Twitter. Like now, granted, there are a few things that are happening in DMs on Twitter that I need to, attend to. But like, other than that, like I'm everything that goes out on Twitter for me is automated now. So, but anyways, you can find me at I am Corey HG on all social media platforms. So, anyways. You can follow us at Tower Casuals. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.